Hello, and welcome to another episode of Glorious Life on Wheels. You know, as the title of this video suggests, I really believe there is a plan afoot. I would go so far as to even say a plot. And it's a plot, I believe, to control and dominate the minds and the behavior of everyday folks like you and me. Come on, and I'm going to tell you more about why I've come to this conclusion and what I think we need to do to stop it before it's too late. You're probably asking, well, who is carrying out this plot? Well, in my opinion, it's large corporations who are consumed by greed, the people who run them, as well as the most powerful and wealthy individuals, or some of them, in this country. How they're carrying out this plan is brilliant. It's diabolical, but brilliant. And we're like frogs in a pot that the water is cold and they're turning up the gas little by little so we don't realize it until we've all boiled to death. I put my thoughts down in notes, so I'm going to refer to them so I could present this coherently to you. But we're being systematically brainwashed and tricked and persuaded to believe that we cannot and should not have anything to do with anyone who has different political views or opinions on issues. And this has become so ingrained in many of us that some people have even let go of family relationships. They don't even talk to their parents or their brothers or their sisters. How horrific is that? That people have been so brainwashed that they abandon their families over this. You probably are asking, well, what is the objective? Why would they want everyday common folks to be divided? Well, I'll tell you why. Because if we start talking to each other, we'll find out that we have a lot in common. We will discover that we're much more alike than different. And once we discover that, we will realize that we're not each other's enemies, that there's a common enemy, and that's greedy corporations, Wall Street, and those individuals who are seeking to hold us down. And that's what they don't want us to come to recognize. How making us focus on each other and pitting everyday people against each other benefits them is it distracts us. It distracts us from what's actually happening in this country. Did you know that since the 1980s, the gap between salaries and rent has grown to 325% approximately? What that means is the cost of rent has increased 325% more than the increase in salaries. So that means that fewer and fewer people, as we see evidenced every day, can afford rents, especially seniors. But fighting against each other takes our focus away from looking at this and asking, how is rent going up that much? How is the cost of housing going up that much? But corporations haven't been required to keep pace by paying their employees more. How are heads of these corporations making millions, sometimes hundreds of millions, with their stock options and bonuses, but the people who work for them and are making them rich are not keeping up and getting paid enough to even be able to afford basic necessities like rent and health care. How, with all of these high salaries for corporate CEOs, has the federal minimum wage not increased since 2009? Do you know that the federal minimum wage is still $7.25 an hour since 2009? A person working 2 full-time jobs at the federal minimum wage, which some states still have, could not afford rent. How is that allowed when the level of compensation for these CEOs of these corporations has increased 100-fold in some cases? How? But keeping us fighting and bickering among each other gets us distracted and keeps us from looking at really who our real adversaries are. In the early 1980s, the estimated number of homeless folks was between 125 and 250,000 people on any given night. Based on HUD reports, in 2024, the estimated number of homeless people on any given night in this country is 771,480. Can you believe that? And they say that it is directly related to the stagnant wages versus the increase in housing cost. And many of those who are suffering because of the increase in housing cost are seniors, the very people who have worked their whole lives contributing to this country can now not even afford to put a roof over their heads. I've got some statistics that are going to blow your socks off. Just listen to this. The average large corporation's CEO's compensation, adjusted for inflation, since 1978 to 2020 has increased, hold on to your hats because you're not going to believe this, it is increased by approximately 1,322%. Again, the average increase in a large corporation's corporate CEO's salary has increased by over 1,000% between 1978 and 2020. Now, compare this to the average increase of a regular worker's compensation or salary over that same period. You want to make a guess? Put a guess in the comments before. Turn this off right now. Guess what that is, how much that increase was, and then turn this back on. The average increase for a regular salary was 18%. 18%. Now, a large percentage of that compensations for CEOs was in stock options, bonuses, and all those things. But the bottom line was in the average year, their increase over that same period was over 1,300% compared to 18%. And we wonder why people cannot afford to buy a house anymore, to even buy food, medication, to rent. And I haven't even gotten started talking about how many corporations have gone in, bought up mobile home parks, which was really the last affordable housing in this country, but gone in, bought up just reams of mobile home parks and then jacked up the prices so that residents, in large part seniors, could not afford the rent and ended up having to abandon their mobile homes because they couldn't afford to move them. Or how about all the corporations in the Midwest who have gone in and started buying up middle income properties and then renting them out so that there is a lack of affordable housing for people to go buy, and now they're converting people who would have been homeowners into renters. The message is own nothing and be happy. The message of this video is that we really need to look at motives and ask, why are we pitted against each other rather than working in collaboration with each other? If we work together, we can bring about change. We can be a powerful voice, and that's what the powers that be want to avoid. And that's why they're pitting us against each other. So don't be distracted. Don't be fooled into thinking that your everyday person who's struggling just like you is your enemy, because they're not. It's corporate greed and those at the highest level, regardless of political affiliations. When they get to a certain point economically, I believe that their political considerations are really a minuscule impact, or have a minuscule impact on them. It's financial considerations that drive them. And we need to look at that and be smarter. We are so much stronger together than fighting each other. Meanwhile, just some food for thought. I love each and every one of you. I didn't edit this video, so there are some blurps in here, but I just wanted to get this message out. So maybe you can start this new year thinking differently about who really is your enemy and who maybe you should be working in concert with. All right, I'll see you next time. May your journeys be filled with joy and blessings.